Alright, let's get started. And all we need to do first is get some water boiling. 4 cups of water into our big stock pot. And then turn the heat up to whatever it is that you normally do to get water boiling. Medium high if you need a specific. Alright, now we're going to wait for that baby and get moving on to step uno. Alright, now what we need to do is we need to take 1 cup of our washing soda and 1 cup of our borax. Put it in any old bowl and stir it together. Once you've got that mixed pretty well, we're just going to set it aside for now. And on to the fun part. Take your Fell's naphtha, open her up, and get grading, girls. Alright, your water should be boiling by now, so it's time to melt the soap that we just grated. Take all of the shavings, put it right into the pot. Alright. Then we're going to turn the heat down just a little bit. Once again, I guess if you need specifics, we'll go with medium heat. Then I take my whisk and it's time to whisk, whisk, whisk away. It'll take about 10 minutes to get the soap to fully dissolve into the water. Be careful as you are stirring. It is soap and it can foam. If you need to keep it under control, you can just play with the fire heat a little bit or just keep stirring. It's good to constantly stir so that you don't burn any of the soap. And you just keep whisking away until you can feel that there is no more grittiness or pieces of soap left on the bottom of the pot. And I will show you the nice pretty foam layer that you should have on top when you are all ready. Alright, mine took a little less than 10 minutes, but that's just because it was grated so finely. How long it'll take depends on how fine you do grade your soap. So I'm going to show you what the foam layer on top looks like, and as I said before, it doesn't feel grainy at the bottom of the pot when I am stirring, and I truly believe that all of the soap is nice and melted in there. It's really important to make sure that it is all melted because it will make a huge difference on how grainy your whipped laundry detergent will be in the finished product. So let's see if we can get a good look at the foam in there. Alright. And what that means is we are ready for the next step. Alright, now that your soap is completely melted, we're going to take the soap off of the heat, and that washing soda and borax you set aside earlier is going to go into the pot. This will take about 3 to 5 minutes to get to completely dissolve and mix together in the pot. Once again, be careful of graininess. As you're stirring it, make sure you do a thorough job. It'll just make a better product in the end. Your soap will still work the same, but it'll be mixed better this way, and you'll get that nice whipped frothiness out of the detergent when we go to blend it in the end, and you'll just love the consistency. So make sure that you stir really, really well. Alright, the bottom feels grain-free, and now it's on to the last step before we get to take a break. So bear with me, one more easy peasy, hopefully not too messy step, and we'll get to take a 4-hour break. Alright, now we're going to take our concoction and we're going to put it into 2 mason jars. I also can, so I have one of these handy dandy things that will make a huge difference in not making too big of a mess. So if that's an option for you, then great. If not, that's okay. I use wide mouth jars, and that's actually quite important for those of you out there, unlike myself, who own a blender, which can help in the whipping process later. But we'll get to that when we get to that. It shouldn't be too hard, so let's get going. Start off by doing half and half into each jar. Mine's already separating a little bit because I had to move the camera around and stuff. When you go to do this immediately after stirring, this should be a little bit smoother than that. But this next waiting step is separation, and mine's starting to do that already. So ignore the glops. Alright. I did my best filling them up equally, and then we're going to take it and fill with water so that there's about 1.5 inches left of head space in the jar. Now put the lids on. And we're going to store them upside down anywhere in the house. The temperature doesn't really matter, just regular room temperature is fine. And we're going to leave these babies to sit upside down like this for 4 to 5 hours. If you were doing this before bed and you want to leave them overnight, that is okay. I've just found myself that right at the 4 or 5 hour mark, I get the best whip out of them. But as I said, if you want to put them on the counter overnight, that's okay as well. I'm just going to set these things aside, and I will be back to finish the process in 4 to 5 hours. Alright, it's been 4 to 5 hours, and we are ready for our next step. But before we move on, I need to admit something. I, Rachel, made a mistake. While I was getting the camera set up and ready in between shots, my soap started to harden before I was able to get it into the mason jar. So my jar isn't the perfect example of what yours should look like right now, but it's a good start for me to explain what it should look like. And I promise, as long as you followed all these easy steps I've given you and waited the 4 to 5 hours, then you're ready to go. So don't worry. But this is how my jar turned out. You can see the liquid in the bottom and then the harder mass throughout the top. Yours will look like this, except for the liquid should be about 1/3 of the way up, give or take a little bit. So now that we've waited this long time, we are ready to hit the final stage, which is the fun part. So we get to whip it good. I'm a moron. Let's open these babies up and get them out into, I just got a stainless steel bowl. You can use the same pot that you used to mix these over the stove top to begin with. It doesn't matter, but during that 4 or 5 hour break, I did all of my dishes, so I just got this bowl out. I will warn you, be careful when you open them, because the liquid is towards the bottom or the top when you hold it upright. So it can make a little bit of a mess. So be careful. Alright. Now, I brought a few different utensils over, just because getting the mass of the soap out isn't always easy. But trust me, the reason that we put them upside down is because it will be much easier to dig it all out if we don't have those horrible corners to dig them from. With that extra bit of head space, it makes it a lot easier to get this stuff out of the jar. And also, I've never tried it because I don't have a blender, but word on the street is that a mason jar fits perfect into a blender. So you could simply take the top of your mason jar off, connect it to a blender, push the button, and let it do the work for you. Like I said, I have yet to try that. I don't have a blender, but I do have a hand mixer, which is what I'm going to use, and that works just fine. So let's get this last bit in there. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, we've been whipping it good for about 5 minutes now, and the laundry soap goddesses have presented us with our very own homemade whipped laundry detergent. Good job, ladies. Give yourself a round of applause. We are all done. We just gotta scoop this back into our original mason jars, put a lid on it, and we are good to go with loads and loads of laundry.
Right. I love it. I love it more than I love puppies.